Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Three Man Weave Best Bets show here on a fine Saturday morning. A little bit of an earlier tip time in mid-February as Kai is on the road in Washington, D.C. Kai, you made waves on Twitter sphere yesterday, but you got into Georgetown. Tell us how it was, what you saw,
Yes.
the sights and sounds of Villanova at Georgetown.
Yes, Jim, I'll say this. More crowded than I expected. I was talking to a media member there. He said Villanova is a good draw for Georgetown. Usually get a lot of fans in the building, big alumni base, I think, in Philly. Obviously, a lot of Villanova fans there. But Georgetown students were out there. The problem is Capital One Arena, where the Wizards play, horrible environment for a college basketball game. It drowns out any sort of noise from the crowd. Georgetown was hyped to start the game, kind of dwindled as it went along. Not a great game, a lot of threes, a lot of missed threes, low scoring game. But head into Maryland today to see the Terps in Illinois. Very excited for that game. Looking forward to it.
Matthew, how are you?
I'm great, Jim. Good to see both your faces. Do we feel bad for our queen who was kind of raked for the coals last night by the Twitter mob? But we, first of all, appreciate the loyalty and the fervor that our followers have. Just kind of reemphasizes, underscores what we've built, the groundswell movement that this organization has developed the last 5 years. So great to see. I still feel bad that we maybe threw an
I
extra
I
punch
don't
or
feel
two.
bad, Matt, because I would not have gotten credentials and good seats if not for one phone call from a particular
You,
person. So she
you
would
did
not
what you
have.
had to do
She
to
was
get
not
it
going to
done.
give it to us because of the Twitter thing. So
Mm,
I don't feel bad. And
mm.
she's also denied smaller blogs. I've gotten email DMs from smaller blogs that have gotten denied credentials from Georgetown, which is ridiculous. Why deny media credentials? Nothing can happen. I mean, it's ridiculous. Give the people a chance, the media guys a chance, the little guys, independent guys. Yeah,
Classic big comms, big
right.
communications.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, I look I'm hosting a fireside chat here, but I'm dog sitting at a pal's. I forgot my spinny hat. It's back home. That's okay. These two are flanking me with strong spinny hat action today. I'm thankful to them. Shout out to San Diego State. Big win last night. If Colorado State knocks off Utah State today, there's going to be a tie atop the Mountain West. Big time competition for that title. So Aztecs got a big one at home. Guys, let's get into today. The headliner is in the Big East. Surprisingly, we've reached February 17th, and it's the first matchup between Marquette and UConn. We do have two coming in the regular season, potentially even a third at Madison Square Garden in the Big East tournament. Marquette won 2 out of 3 last year, Mr. McEwen. UConn laying 7.
Yeah.
I got a couple Shaka as an underdog stats for you in a second, but I'll get your take on the game first.
Yeah, UConn, by the way, takes a three-game lead in the Big East with the win. So clearly huge. It's kind of funny they're just dominating the conference this year and couldn't last year in their title run. Yeah, Marquette generally competes with UConn, like you said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Yeah, Shock as a dog. I don't have the overall stats, Jim. I want you to say them, but this year 4-0, +7 cover margin. The guy's pretty good as a dog, and you don't see them as a 7-point dog very often. Certainly the last couple seasons. UConn is a scary fade team. I've been saying that for weeks, months now, probably. When they're rolling, I don't think anybody can really beat them in the country. They'll have a mismatch with Klingon. Marquette, the zone looks. Will it cause turnover issues? Can they pressure UConn a bit? I think they kind of can. Matt laying 7 against Marquette seems very foolish. I certainly lean their way, but again, I am scared to fade UConn at this point.
Yeah, I'm terrified to fade UConn. UConn and Purdue are just the two teams I'm just like the most terrified to go against. Been burned doing both this year a little too often. Fun little data, Kai. I'll counter your data with some more of my own data, although not exactly as relevant because this isn't a true revenge spot. You want to call revenge from last season when Marquette beat UConn in the Big East tournament. But Danny Hurley is 22 and 14 against the spread in those revenge situations since 2016. Obviously, not many times have they lost and had the opportunity to avenge an opponent. But you think in a game like this, with the adjustment that staff will make, I think that sort of counters the Shaka data angle. And again, UConn's just an absolute beast right now. But Marquette also playing well. Good basketball. No need to get involved here on the side or total. I think the total is pretty sharp too. I don't have any angle there either.
Maddie, does that revenge angle counts season over season? Like
Yeah, so
they played
it's
somebody
going back
last
to last year.
year?
It doesn't go back 2 years, but like last year or the current year, not like 2 years. Like 2 years ago would be stupid. I think the prior year makes sense. Like if someone beat you in the conference tournament and ended your season, Obviously, this is different 'cause it's power conference, but no,
And
you're
it's
not
just
buying it.
different.
Okay.
It's two different rosters, so I'm a little hesitant to buy it. But
Yeah, okay. So
I do the Shaka underdog stats in his career. He's 67% against the spread, 53 and 26. Pretty darn good. At Marquette, he's 11, 4 and 1. Just a fantastic motivator, schemer when they're an underdog. Gets the boys to dig in. They're going to be able to move Klingon around. Iguodaro, I've loved the 5-1 pick and rolls that Marquette has run. Kolek screening for Iguodaro. Iguodaro can get moving off the bounce. He's obviously a terrific passer, so he can fan it out to shooters if need be. Marquette needs to avoid losing Caravan and Spencer. It just feels like UConn gets big momentum threes from those guys
yeah.
every time they need them. If there's a big shot that would like change the game and Spencer's taking it, I'm confident, certain that he's going to make it. Just the kind of competitor he is. I do lean Marquette, keeping it close here on the road, but not betting it. The total slight lean to the over as well, but
Agreed.
again, not betting that one. All right, staying in the Big East, guys, the game that went way over in the first matchup. That'll be Creighton and Butler. Matthew, hopefully you have some revenge stats for Mr. McDermott because they lost at home to the Bulldogs. Now they're heading to Hinkle. Creighton laying 3 on the road. They've taken a tiny bit of money. Matthias, what are you thinking in this matchup between Creighton and Butler?
I have no revenge data for you here, Jim. My simple handicap to this is just watch last game against Marquette. Butler was, that was a pretty game effort, I would say, from the Bulldogs. And this spread, I think it closed a half point higher, Marquette. So, just looking at the, little transitive property angle there, man, I feel like Butler should be closer to a pick here. And that's coming from a guy who likes Creighton and still probably has Creighton rated fairly highly. Now they're starting to play better.
You think Creighton's like 4 points worse than Marquette?
I think they're 2 points worse than Marquette. What did that game close?
I thought it was Marquette
five,
-4.5, -4.
5. Okay, so 3 or whatever. Okay, so I guess it comes a little closer to the to equilibrium than I would have, than I thought. But still, I still like Butler here, Kai at home. They've just been really good at Hinkle and the length they have on the wing with Telfort. I kind of like how they're playing, using him more as a primary ball handler. But Creighton play better too. I think they're sort of putting to bed that little losing streak they had. Can they defend Butler? They gave up 1,000,000 points in the first matchup. Surely McDermott can make adjustments. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, well, to your point, KenPom does have this one, so you're not totally off base by saying it should be closer to pick. Obviously, the market has it Creighton 3, 2.5. Yeah, game one, Jim mentioned. 99 to 98 shootout. Both teams were over 1.3 points per possession. Key in that game, no Posh Alexander for Butler. And guess what? That's a good thing. Per CBB Analytics, a -10.3 net rating. The worst on the team. They're -11 on offense with him on the floor. He's a turnover machine. He can't finish. He's back. He's playing. He hurts them when he's on the floor, which is crazy to say. I never expected to say that. I agree with the Hinkle crowd. I think it'll be good. I think Butler wins the physicality battle. Brooks and Telfort are pretty strong wings that I think Creighton has difficulty stopping, but Kalkbrenner has an edge. I think Creighton's outside shooting is still kind of due for an uptick in conference play. It's not quite where it is for the season-long average. Creighton's going to score at will. Butler can't stop anybody. And, Jim, I don't see Butler hitting 13 for 22 from 3 again. That's what they did in game one. I like Creighton, actually, in this one.
Yeah, I lean Creighton too. Kai, I pulled the same Posh stat. I was thrilled to see that the numbers match my eye test with him, where it's like, God, he drives me nuts when he's on the floor. And when they don't play with him, they play DJ Davis at point guard. You get Telford and Brooks can kind of handle it. And Creighton's going to play that deep drop with Kalkbrenner. So if you can hit jumpers in that mid-range area, which Posh cannot do, but the other 3 guys can out of ball screens, it's kind of a weakness in the Creighton defense. That's what they're willing to give up. They basically say, we're going to out-math you. You can take those mid-range jumpers. And I think Butler's actually got guys that can hit them. However, yeah, I'm buying Creighton just playing a little better, a little bit of shooting regression from Butler compared to last game, as Kai mentioned. I think the Jays get it. That's more a gut play, not a numbers one for me, but I think Creighton gets it back. All right, next up, to the Big 12. Kansas headed to Oklahoma. I was a little surprised by the spread. KU taking a tiny bit of money here. Kansas -2 last I checked out. Kai, Kansas is 1-5 straight up on the road in league play. Their only win was at Oklahoma State. They have genuinely looked bad on the road, but they have had 5 full days off here. They're a little healthier. Maybe you get McCullough back in the mix. Kind of expect him to play. Is that the difference for you? You're going to ride with the road Jayhawks here?
Yeah, Self, excuse me, Self does expect McCullough to play. Obviously, that's important. They need him. Talk about on-off net rating per CBB analytics. He's plus 16.9. That's one of the best in the country. It's number one on the team. So unlike Posh, Kevin McCullough really matters for Kansas. On the road, KU not great. 2-5 against the spread, 2-5 straight up. In Big 12 play, that's 1-5 against the spread and straight up. The depth obviously is a problem. They don't get the calls. I'm going to say it again that they probably usually do at Fog Allen. It matters over the stretch of the game, in my opinion. Oklahoma, Matt, has proven its ability to be good at home. They handled BYU. They handled Iowa State. We know they're well coached. They really take advantage of mismatches. They have a great backcourt with multiple weapons. They don't have a match for Dickinson. That's going to be Kansas's biggest edge here. They should score inside. Even KJ Adams, I think, is going to be a tough cover for Oklahoma. But they also rarely beat themselves. It's going to take a strong KU effort on the road. I do lean their way. It's hard to see Self dropping 2 in a row in Big 12 play, especially after getting blown out. But I don't think it's a slam dunk or anything like that, Matt.
Man, I guess I must be Matty Holmes today. I'm back in OU here. I can't tell you how many times I've backed Kansas as a short road favorite at Oklahoma and like lost all of those bets just anecdotally the last few years. Yeah, no John Healy today. I think that's been confirmed. Pretty huge key matchup for Dickinson up front. They still have Godwin. They still have like enough positional size, and Moser's always a great game planner. He's not going to let Dickinson run wild. I think he'll collapse on them and send selective double teams as needed. It just feels like it's an OU game. It really does. I know KU like it's an obvious bounce back spot with McCullough coming back healthy, but I just think OU gets this win. It means more to them. Just the way the Big 12's been kind of an ebb and flow type league with these home spots, just gut screams Boomer Sooner Jimbo.
Same. I was very surprised by this line. Oklahoma favored on Ken Palm. We're 3 points off the other way. It doesn't really trend with a lot of the narratives in the market this year, like trying to back these home teams. It's a get right spot too for Oklahoma. They got smashed at Baylor on the road. Now coming back home over the weekend, I think you get a terrific crowd in Norman. I like Oklahoma here. Despite the Dickinson stuff, I just think Kansas is kind of mortal. You're just limited in your options, and if McCullough's at all banged up, they're going to be hard pressed to kind of stick with a deeper Sooners team here.
Can I ask?
All right, next.
Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
When's the last time Bill Self's lost 2 in a row, and definitely 2 in a row in the Big 12? I don't know if it's ever in the Big 12. Not that matters, but it would just be wild, I think, to see that happen.
They lost 3 in a row last year.
They did. Oh, okay. Well, shut me up. It happens.
At K-State OT, TCU at home, and then at Baylor. But they obviously righted the ship after that. So
yeah, then
actually, Kai, I like that point. It actually happened 2 years ago too. All right, okay. I'm hammered. OU is the best bet for me. Boom. I like that we have 2 data points,
like
2
Kansas,
anecdotes.
like
Absolutely love OU. It'll be a best bet.
Okay. All right. So a best bet for Matthew on the Oklahoma side. I lean that way. Kai leans Kansas. Take that right. As you will, folks. All right. Last up before our first chat mob section, Wake Forest headed to Virginia. Maddie, the Deacs continue to be not as safe as all of their numbers would indicate for the NCAA tournament. In fact, likely on the outside looking in right now with no Q1 wins. But the schedule's starting to give them some opportunities down the stretch here. This is the first one. Virginia has been playing better, but they just lost at home. There's another one, Kai. Can Tony Bennett lose 2 in a row at home? Virginia lost midweek to Pitt. What do you think, Matt? This is another team that can shoot the lights out from 3, and that's really what you have to do against this Virginia pack line.
Yep, and there's no guarantee that they do that, though, Jim. I actually like Virginia here as the kind of the poo-pooer of Virginia for most of this season. They are playing better, and I do think this home spot just sets up really well. Wake is 2-6 against the spread away from home. I just think the way they play, they're best in transition. They can make those loud momentum-swinging buckets. I think it just plays better on their home floor. That'll be heavily negated by, again, the way Virginia plays, especially at home at John Paul Jones. Defensively, multiple matchups to kind of cut off some key initiators for Wake with the way Beekman's been playing. And obviously Dunn and the way that Minor has emerged back as a key part of the front line, versatile piece there. You can actually argue that the just sheer size of Wake is a problem too, Kai, for Virginia. Just look at the front line roster list versus what Virginia throws out there. But still, again, the way the pack line defends, we'll talk about this with Liberty sometimes. I don't think true size matters in a pack line scheme. You just need to have good sound positional defender. You can negate size. So just a spot screaming Virginia, go Hoos. -3. Has it been bet up a little bit, I think?
It's 2.5, 3, I think.
2.5, 3.
Okay, yeah.
Well, and we talked about this in past shows, but you're paying a premium if you want Virginia today. It's -1 per KenPom. There's the premium home bump in the market. Wake, yeah, Jim mentioned it. They need this game for their tournament hopes. Otherwise, they're on track to be, the top ranked analytics team that misses the dance every year, and that's never a good feeling. But they just don't have the wins, despite being top 30 in KenPom. They don't have the wins yet to be a tourney team. Virginia in the hunt for an ACC title. They won 8 in a row before losing to Pitt. Surprisingly, they've really found their rhythm. Now Wake smoked them in game one. Virginia's not a road team, though. We know they're a lot worse on the road. We have the stats from Haslametrics, I believe, is where he pulled those from, or maybe it was Bart Torvik. But Wake was 10 for 21 from deep in that game. That's what you need to do to beat the Hoos. Obviously, they can shoot. Virginia was 12 for 45 from two, 26.7%. I'm not sure that happens again, but if Wake hits shots again like they did, and they can, I think they win this game. I do expect a better effort from Virginia. I do think scoring is hard to come by for them, Jim, but I do think the spot is there at home. I agree with Matt on this one.
Yeah, I fear the spot, but this is another kind of gut thing for me. I think Wake Forest finally gets over the hump, and they played a lot of good teams close, and that's indicated in their advanced predictive numbers. And I think they finally get over the hump here. They like I said, they can shoot over the top of the pack line, loosen it up a little, and then they've got multiple different guys that can attack off the bounce. And Virginia's only got one Reese Beekman, and I think that helps. Having Salas, Boopy, or Hildreth able to put it on the floor, get into gaps, and you draw defenders in the pack line, and you kick it out to Fredrickson or any of the three that I mentioned, or Monsanto. If he gets hot, then it could be real trouble. I just kind of think they can mimic what Pitt did, hit a bunch of shots early, loosen up that defense, and eventually Virginia is just not a great team playing catch up. So I'm gonna go with Wake there. Obviously, Kai mentioned the first matchup where they won by 19. Not going to be that big of a blowout, but I think they get their big quad one road win here.
And yeah, Pitt's front line huge too, right? So like another just Wake to Pitt similarity with the size they have at the rim.
All right, Matthias, let's go to the chat mob. Folks, hit that like button when if you're in the chat. The daily announcements still pending. The contract is in the hands of the sponsor, so we still think it's going to start this week. But give us the like button for just for the love. All right, Matthew, what do we got in the chat mob?
Let's start off with Jeffrey. Want to know about Cuse? Big win over UNC last time out. Do they extrapolate that momentum onto the road today, Mr. McKeon? I don't know. I don't think Syracuse on the road is anything to be afraid of. They go to Georgia Tech. Tricky-ish spot, tricky-ish matchup. Sitting around a pick right now, total 150. People betting that over.
Yeah, I thought the spread was low. I like Syracuse there, honestly. I haven't been totally impressed with them, especially without Benny Williams, but they bounced back against North Carolina in a big way. I don't think Georgia Tech is a scary team when they're not playing Duke. So I lean towards Syracuse here on the short spread, like a pick. Yeah, -1, +1, whatever it is.
Just worry super young Syracuse could be let down prone after that North Carolina. That's my one concern there.
Yeah, Red Autry was threatening walk-ons like week before. Again, just the psychological volatility of these teams is just like it's impossible to keep up with. I can't deal with it anymore. Jim, we go west. Colorado versus USC from Renzo Bros. He thinks the spread feels low. I assume he means he thinks Colorado should be favored by more, or the inverse. I'm not quite sure. I actually like USC here, as stupid as that sounds. +2 at home, just a Pac-12 home spot.
No, I lean your way. I don't know why you'd bet Colorado or Utah on the road right now. Those teams suck on the road. It's been repeatedly shown throughout conference season they can't translate the same level of play. Colorado's in the same spot as Wake, desperately need wins to get back on the right side of the bubble, but USC showed signs of life last game. Collier looks pretty good coming back from his injury. I like the Trojans as well.
Yeah, I actually bet USC pretty big. That was stupid, man.
I like Colorado.
My gut tells me that's
I like Colorado.
Better team. And put all that nonsense aside. I hate when my gut agrees with Kai and my money's on the other side. Hey, Kai, let's go to Larry Gibson's astute question. Just ask about Kansas State versus TCU, the purple people eater battle, I guess, in the Big 12. I like TCU better. Kansas State has sort of been souring in my eyes. What's your thought in this matchup?
I like TCU better, too, in a vacuum. I'm not going against Kansas State at the Octagon. No chance. It's just a strong home court. They can beat anybody there. Doesn't matter who they play. So, I'm staying fully away in this one.
Sitting at -1. Jim likes the under. Yeah, this is one of those where the Big 12 unders have been shaded pretty heavily. It seems like some of these, like Baylor, I know they're playing like way slower and playing their zone. So the market The market openers on totals has been the story of the year for me in betting. Much sharper. So way to go, bookmakers, I guess. How about Nick asking about Okie State, BYU, another Big 12 tilt. Mr. McKeon, any thoughts on the Road Cougars at Gallagher-Iba? Some money coming in on the Pokes, opened at 7, now it's down to +6.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat ask if it was too low now. I think it's about right. BYU is obviously the better team. They're laying 6 right on the road, but I'm not totally confident that they're still a great road team in Big 12 play. I think Gallagher-Iba, I know it's a shell of itself this season per reports, but I still think it's a tough place to play, tough place to win. So I think the spread's right. I'm staying away in this one.
Yeah. BYU 1-5 ATS on the road to support you, Kai.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Jimmy Extras, we head up to Maine. The Catamounts opened -3, a short road favorite. Now they've been up to -4.5. Man, how about Chris Marquardt? Just Maine is just a different type of handicap than we were used to for so many years. I have no take, Jim. I'm hoping you do.
Not a ton. I would have liked Vermont at the opener. I think Marquette moved it up the right direction. That felt a little bit low. Maine just competed really well with Bryant during the week. That was, I thought, an impressive effort. I actually thought they would win that one outright. Didn't quite get there, but strong effort. I'm still leaning Vermont there, Matthew, but given that it's off the 3, I'm not going to recommend it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what arena this is at, too. I know Maine uses both. Nothing that matters. It might
Banger and Orono. Yeah.
Orono. Hi, Cool Hand Luke, I call him. Luke Putnam. Sanford covering the 10 at Mercer. My number liked Mercer. But wow, did I not like Mercer's last 2 efforts. They looked like a JV team against Western Carolina and then followed it up with a stinker at Wofford. They did play they did play Sanford close earlier this season. They actually played them close both times last year, too. So I don't know if Gary has some blueprint to compete with Sanford. Makes no sense because I can't handle the ball and Sanford feast on turnovers. My gut tells me it's 30 points, but my number says it's 5. What do you think?
I think every number I make is going to favor the other team besides Sanford because I can't keep up with them. They're that good, though. They are legitimately a great team, especially Marshall. He's back in the lineup. Their best player was hurt most of the season. Mercer is an impossible team to nail down. Eye test, they're horrible. But they've been competing against better teams randomly, right? They're kind of like a Louisiana Monroe in that sense. So I'm staying fully away from this game.
Jim, how about the very last game on the slate today? This is fun because I'm involved in this game, and it's one of those where you're going to be in a good headspace or a really terrible headspace, depending on how the results transpired before then. But we have at 11:30 Eastern Time tip, UNLV hosting the Wolfpack, little battle of Nevada, your former stomping grounds. I like the running Rebs at home. Do you agree?
I strongly agree. I'm going to try to pull the numbers quick here, but I think UNLV has been
-2 current price. But you start. Go ahead.
Has been very good against Nevada. I think Kruger has mostly owned Alford. It's just kind of been like, not big brother, little brother, but that's kind of my perception. I'm waiting for the page to load here. Only 5-5 against the spread, but they've covered and won outright 4 in a row against Nevada. So that's the kind of the Kruger era. I think he's got Alford's number there.
I stubbornly believe UNLV is very good. I only just barely won at Fresno, but that was Fresno's best game of the year, despite being shorthanded from what most locals and most forums in the Fresno community told me. So I think the Rebs are good. But again, they can lose by 50, as they did to Air Force, so who knows? Kai, Ethan asking about a few, and I appreciate the number of questions. Not a ton of questions this morning. I feel like maybe they really start through some people off. That's fine.
They're gonna start trickling in, I think, Matthew.
They will. Penn State at Nebraska. Every time I see Nebraska home spread, I think that seems big, but then I think, nope, that's probably not big enough. Laying a touchdown and
it's getting
change
up
plus
now.
8 now. My goodness.
I have to share
thoughts.
I have to share a quick thing. Last night at the games, I was leaving. A guy in Nebraska hat stopped me, and he goes, "Kai, you were wrong about Nebraska in October."
That's awesome.
I love it when people tell you you're wrong. That is a top 5 pass.
I said you're right. They're way better than I expected. Shout out to that guy. 8.5 seems high, but yeah, I'm not going against Nebraska, man. They're a wrecking ball at home this season.
I took them in the contest, 12-4 against the spread at home. Yeah. They had a whole week off.
You got I think 7,
Nebraska
Jim?
shells.
6.5?
I got 7.5. 7.5.
It's better than 8.5. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, Clary is probably out. I assume that's why it's at 9 at this point now. That's probably what the money coming in is.
He's been playing, but he just hasn't been. I think he scored 16 points in 3 games. He's been a shell.
They had good efforts without him, I think, in 2 of those. So, yeah, I mean, I know he's important, but sometimes these dudes don't matter as much as you think. How about Cincinnati at UCF? Heavy Big 12 slate from the mob today. Another one from Ethan Jim. Weird spot for UCF. They're coming from BYU, correct? So they actually have a farther travel to get back home than Cincinnati coming from
Wow.
Cincinnati. So interesting geography.
Yeah, I sort of lean Bearcats. I think they're not quite to the degree of Wake Forest, but like they're better than their NCAA tournament profile indicates, and they need to kind of start figuring that out. And I think to the contrary of how Houston has owned Cincinnati, Cincinnati's sort of owned UCF over the years. So I like the Bearcats there.
Last one from Ethan, an Ivy showdown. How about this? This might be the decider in the outright regular season title. Princeton looking for revenge at home at Jadwin Gym. Should be a packed house there against Yale, who just came off a very impressive win at Penn, and Yale with that big comeback win against Princeton in the first meeting. What do you think happens in the rebuttal?
Me, I think
Yes.
Yale +4 is the side I prefer. I don't think home means much in the Ivy. So you're telling me that Princeton's that much better on a neutral? I don't think so than Yale. I actually think Yale might be slightly better, and I think they're kind of proving it in the Ivy play. Now, great spot for Princeton, better spot for Princeton. They're an awesome team, but I lean towards Yale if you're giving me 4.
And James Jones thinks Nolan could play. Nolan missed yesterday for Yale, but he thinks he could play today.
That would be key. If he was out,
Hot,
that goes out the window. Right.
hot take. I feel like he matters a lot, but in this matchup, like just the way Yale plays, they just crash the glass relentlessly, and like that's a kryptonite for most of these Ivy teams that just don't have the athletes to stack up. So I mean, Nolan's great, but I still think Yale's got a pretty good edge there. Kai, Tommy Sheehan, South Carolina, LSU. Feels big, but South Carolina, this is the new normal, which is a really good team. I don't know if I'd like them laying big numbers though. I think it's at 7 right now.
I don't want to be.
Correct.
I don't want to be a hindsight guy, but
Six.
they
and a
lost
half,
by 40
six
to
and a half,
Auburn.
sorry.
I don't think South Carolina was as good as that's
As we all
hindsight.
thought.
I don't think they're ever
One
that
game.
good.
It's one
I
game.
still don't think
One
they
game.
are. Their wins aren't that impressive. I don't know. I got no take in this game.
At
Jalen Cook
Tennessee,
for
not
LSU
impressive
matters.
per Kai.
Besides that one,
Just kidding.
I thought Ivy, or excuse me, I thought Yale Princeton was the last mob question for this round, Matthew.
Yeah,
Was
Matt's really going. He mentioned that we didn't have a lot of questions, and they started rolling in.
And then they
so.
started coming in. Sorry. All right,
I
last
would
one.
lean towards-
Last one. I promise.
Lean
Last
towards
one.
the over in the South Carolina LSU game if you made me choose something in there.
Some chat debate about Richmond at George Washington. Either you have a take on that one. Do you want to go to you? George Washington has been pretty horrific recently.
Yeah.
They can't guard anything.
They've been very bad.
Home. Yeah.
Very bad lately, and Richmond's off a loss. I kind of think Richmond suffocates the life out of them. I would lean the Spideys on the road.
Back to the rundown.
Back to the rundown we go. I saw a question about Kentucky Auburn in the chat, and we will discuss it now. Could have been a game of the year in the SEC type, but Kentucky's been really struggling. They did get right at home during the week, Matthew. But Trey Mitchell played, and he hurt his shoulder and might not be back for this one. The spread has been kind of waffling, vacillating back and forth. Auburn is incredible at home against the spread. There's going to be a million possessions in this game. I kind of lean the home Tigers. What do you think?
Yeah, I took Kentucky when it got to 9. Pounced on it. I think I was waiting for the official news on Mitchell, but sounds like he's out today. I do think he matters. I worry. I glossed over his importance. You need like a veteran big to combat what Auburn has to bear up front with Jonai Broom. And yeah, I mean, Auburn's home cover margin this year, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It feels like it's 10 points. And with the possession count that this game could get to, like in the upper 70s, it feels big, Kai, 8.5, 9, but it'll play to like 5. So like if you're betting Kentucky here, I think you need to feel like they have a chance to win this game. I do. I'm still a starting believer in Kentucky, who was fully healthy for the first time last game.
Right.
Now Mitchell again getting hurt puts a slight dampen that, but Wagner, your boys, been back for 2 games. I still think Kentucky's got that top end gear, and I think they bring it today on the road.
Do we know Mitchell's out? Is that confirmed?
80% sure. Give me
Okay.
chat mob.
Yeah.
QA me there.
This spread made me say, whoa. 8.5. I know it's home Auburn. They're awesome. They're the only team once again in the country that got back into the top 10 on both offense and defense. So team's legit, right? The 40-point win against South Carolina will help that. And Kentucky, are they cracking? Calipari, the disappointment is growing louder. We just lost Jim. Oh no, on the Zoom. Matt
Don't
and
need
I-
him. We're fine. 2 men.
Well, hopefully he'll jump back in. Our framing's poor. Bear with us right now, folks. Sorry. Kentucky
Slide.
Kentucky 0-4 against top 50 opponents in their last 4 games.
Yeah,
That
it's
seems
not
like an issue. The Cats have actually been solid on the road, though. 4-2 against the spread. You don't see them as a dog very often. 3-1 against the spread this year as a dog. I think 8 points is giving way too much to a super talented team, even if Mitchell doesn't play. But you're right, Matt. The high possession game, tons of points. That's scary. 8 is tempting with Kentucky here. I lean to Kentucky.
I know I took Kentucky. There's actually one of two SEC sucker spots that I bit for. The other one we'll probably talk about is Alabama and Texas A&M. I took the big road dog there as well. Auburn and Alabama, both pretty monster home teams so far this season. So, all right, Kai, let's keep cruising here until Jim gets his tech difficulties sorted. What'd you say? Sorry.
I said yep.
Iowa State hosting Texas Tech next on the rundown. Big 12 showdown. I think we pretty much hit every Big 12 game today. The Cyclones laying 7 at home, which feels big-ish because I love my Red Raiders, Mr. McKeon, but Iowa State at home this season, 12-2 against the spread, covering by an average of 8.5 points per game. Now, it's come down a little bit in conference play, but not by much. They are 8-3 in conference against the numbers. So, yeah, I think you have to really have a strong reason to fade Iowa State at home. And I sound like a hypocrite since I feel like the same narrative applies to Auburn, and I did fade Auburn. But I did not take Tech here. Did you? Were you tempted by the Fighting Grant McCaslins?
Yes, I was completely tempted by the Fighting Grant McCaslins. It's another spread that stuck out to me as 7.5, right? Iowa State's legit. They're top 10 in KenPom. They clearly mean a lot. Hey, Jim's back. Sorry, guys out there. Jim, can you hear us?
I can, yes.
Fantastic. Well, let me get you framed up for the people real quick, if I can do it on the fly.
Wow, I'd be very impressed by that.
Jim, Iowa State by 7 or 17 today. What happens?
Iowa State 17. The team just rocks at home.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
I agree. I mean, I feel like there's nothing else to say in this game. Let's keep going here. I want to get some shout
let's see here. I don't want to fade Iowa State. 12-2 against the spread at Hilton. No thank you. 14-0 straight up. No thank you. Spread feels high. I'm not fading the Magic.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe throw Iowa State in a money line parlay, Matt. That's what I would say. I think they win.
Yeah.
I can go back to hosting now that I'm
take
back
the
in the
mic
game here.
If you want it.
All right, yeah. Texas headed to Houston. Houston has had a whole week off. And again, I think that really matters at this point in the year. A lot of guys are banged up. You just kind of get to, get right. Take a little bit of a time off and figure that out. Houston laying 10.5 here. Matthew, they are 8-4-1 against the spread at home, covering by an average of 6 points a game. First game was close between these two in Austin, but I kind of think Houston continues to show that incredible home form that they have.
I agree. I actually had Texas written down as a potential play here. I just kind of like the angle. As good as they played as a road dog of this magnitude in what could be a lower possession game. But yeah, Houston at home is just a monster. And I think the numbers actually been shaded toward Texas. Like markets bet on Texas, so I was waiting for like 12, maybe 13 with the Horns. I'm not going to jump in and take 10. I think that's way too cheap. Even though my gut does tell me that pound for pound the talent's pretty equal. And maybe Houston's big home wins haven't been against the cream of the crop, and Texas seems like they're trending towards that. I don't know, Kai. I'm reaching for grasping for straws here. What's your take?
First of all, I hope everyone's impressed by the framing on the fly there. You're welcome.
It's pretty good.
That out.
Yeah, I am impressed.
I'm waiting for it to like catch up on the actual stream, but it's so cool seeing the process. Anyways, okay, Texas Tech at Texas at Houston. Okay, third straight game that I said, whoa, the spread's high. But Houston's this good, man. 10 points seems like a mountain considering how many possessions this game's projected at, low 60s. That seems pretty high, and game one was close, right? Houston was up 12 in the first half. Longhorns clawed back, went to overtime. It's just really hard to beat Houston. You have to handle the ball. You have to box out every play. You have to hit shots. It's really hard to do everything at a high level because Houston does not make mistakes. Despite their no middle D, they're great at contesting shots on the home floor. It's just a really tough team to play, Jim. But I still like, I lean towards Texas, at 10. It's a really big number. Again, scary fade, though.
I had somebody chirp me on Twitter that Shedrick is playing not a lot again, similar to how he was in Virginia, and I always thought he should have played more in Virginia. Every on-off stated that he was better. So do the numbers here at Texas. They say they're better with him on the floor. He must be just a dirtbag or something. Like, people must not get along with him. Coaches must not like his attitude because evidence of on-court basketball is that he's a good player, and apparently he just loses minutes every single year. I still think Houston.
DC's just so good. Is that why? I mean, he's been such a monster. That
Can you
has to
not
be
play
part
them
of it, too.
together? I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
Disu can hit a jumper. I don't know. I'd rather have those two playing together than Brock
I
Cunningham.
agree, especially in this matchup. Yeah, give me some jumbo big lineups here, Rodney. Rod.
Yeah, I would be very okay with that. Yeah, but ultimately, I lean Houston with the rested week off at home physicality. Like Kai mentioned, you got to be on it every single play. That's easier to do against Houston if you're at home and you've got the crowd backing you, and it's just tougher on the road.
Yep.
All right, final game on the outline. Illinois headed to Maryland. Maryland has already knocked off Illinois in Champaign this year. Multiple people, I tweeted being kind of confounded by that result, and multiple Illinois fans are like, Brad Underwood can't beat Maryland. He's just not good against them. So, Kai, that seems to be the case. I'll pull up the historical numbers here in a second.
Yes,
I'm
please.
kind of going one-handed because I'm holding my phone with the other. So that's if there's any camera instability, it's because I can't hang on to it. But Maryland, a short home dog, Mr. McEwen. Are you going to back them?
Well, I'll be in attendance, boys. I will be at this game as part of the media. Maryland, 2.5. I heard the same stat, Jim. I'm excited to hear the numbers. I heard they own Illinois lately. That's very interesting. The Terps are pretty much drawing dead for the tournament unless they go on a massive run. So it has to start tonight. It's possible. It is possible. There's enough games left in the schedule, but they need to start winning. Fifth in defense in the country. That's legit. Jim mentioned they beat Illinois. Now, no Terrence Shannon in that game. He matters a ton on defense. Offensively, Illinois is fine with him on or off. They have a lot of weapons, but defensively, he's huge for this game. Obviously, he matters quite a bit. Maryland's weakness has been taking care of the ball. Worst turnover rate in the conference, but that's not Jameer Young's fault. He's been great. Everyone else has been a little shaky, but Illinois doesn't force turnovers. It's weird to see an Underwood team not force turnovers. Only 7 for Maryland in game 1. That's huge. If you can't take advantage of Maryland's biggest weakness, I think that's a real problem. Again, Matt, the defense is real. Maryland, they're locked down inside. Number 1 effective field goal percentage in the Big Ten. I'm going the hometown Terps in this game.
I have nothing more to add other than I'll just do my obligatory Big Ten home court tracker. 7-6 against the spread last week. So we mentioned last show, I think, how it's sort of starting to be priced in, leveling off, but still 52-41 against the spread. Our home teams this season for a nice little 7% ROI. How's your portfolio? Strong to quite strong if you're a Big Ten exclusive investor. Jim?
I'm curious to see how that crowd is. Saturday, big opponent. I feel like they should fill it up. I've watched a couple midweek home Maryland games where the crowd isn't really showing up, and that was concerning to me. But this feels like the spot, kind of as Kai mentioned with the at-large resume. This is the last stand. Like, you need this top 10 team coming to town that you do own. Per the stats, Maryland's won 6 of the last 7 straight up, covered 5 of the last 6. So that's where that dominance comes from, of Illinois just not being able to beat the Terps, and that's across Danny Manning, that's across Mark Turgeon, that's multiple different coaches in that statistic. So I think I do lean Maryland. Kai, I hope you see a fun upset, maybe a court storm for you there, huh?
Hey, that'd be cool. I would be tempted to storm as well.
You better storm.
I would love that.
You better be on the court. I'll listen.
From the media section?
Pull out if I'm
Yes,
not.
that'd be good. We need you to do that, yeah. All right, that is it for the outline. Matthew, I know we've got plenty of questions to get to here as our chats are. What else do you got for us?
West Virginia, take me home. Where they're playing today, Kai McKeon.
Those are the exact words.
That's right. That's the David Guetta remix version with the vocal overlay there. I don't know. But West Virginia to me feels like a really emotionally depleted team. They had the saddest state of affairs was the last possession against, was it TCU? They had like Noah Farrakhan and Kerr like collide on like a loose ball thing. I think they're both playing today, but they are really banged up, and I know they're at home, but I don't know. I just don't want to bet West Virginia. Guys, 7.5 home dog. Are you interested?
Much better at home. Tempted a little bit, but no thanks. Staying away. Same fears as you.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor's playing slower, so I don't feel like they actually have that juice to really blow teams out. Maybe it does get a little mucky, and West Virginia sneaks in there. Jim Toasty thinks Boise State toasts the visiting. Who are they playing? A bad team. It's a bad team. Fresno. Yeah, Fresno offered really game effort at home. I could see them cracking today. They are majorly injured. Boyaki's out, and there's a couple other guys. They had 6 scholarship players basically for the second half of that game against UNLV. The Bronx, did they lay the wood at Taco Bell Arena, Jim?
Yeah, I think crack's the right word, where maybe they don't run away and hide immediately, but second half, I feel like Boise just puts an absolute run on them and extends. The spread feels quite high, but I think it's partially because of the personnel disadvantages that Fresno has. Boise's coming off 2 tough losses against Colorado State and Utah State. I think they get right against shorthanded Fresno today.
I think I agree. Can't pronounce. It's just a kind of a hand-hitting keyboard username here, but asking about Albany versus UMBC. Kai, you have the option to hockey pass this to Jim for the extra breakdown, because I have nothing here. But 2 America East takes today on the show.
I'm a little bit surprised by the spread. I kind of think Albany should be favored, but UMBC's taking a little money. I like the Great Danes. UMBC certainly played better in America East, but I still think Albany's a better team. So I lean their way ever so slightly here.
Did we talk Iowa, Wisconsin? Did I completely black out during that conversation?
We have not talked Iowa, Wisconsin yet.
Let's talk it. Jim, I'll go to you, Buzzcut Badger resident expert here. Home dog for Iowa, a team I don't like, and a team that's also gotten some weird ink about why is no one going to the games. Iowa and Wyoming are the 2 teams that I've seen multiple local reports on why are no one going to home games. Should typically be really good home crowds. Jim, any appetite to back your struggling Badgers on the road?
Well, we know the best way to get fans to show up is to tell them they suck. They really respond well to that.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh, yep. Okay. I guess I'll go now that journalist X called me out. No, I'm looking up data here too. I think Wisconsin has been very, very good against Iowa historically. But going on the road, Iowa much, much better at home. Carver Hawkeyes is a different world for them. And quite frankly, Wisconsin's playing poor. Like, they didn't even cover against that Ohio State team that was about to fire its coach.
Was dead. Yeah, right.
But historically, Wisconsin 7-1-2 against the spread in the last 10. So they've been very, very competitive with Iowa. This is a stay away from me.
Shouts to Will Jones asking some just really strong questions, potential rundown candidates that just missed the cut. We'll give a couple to Kai here. Colorado State, Utah State, Arizona State. Jim, I'll save A&M, Alabama for you. Mr. McKeon.
No, give me the Arizona ones. I wrote it for Action Network. So
Jim, you'll get Jim go first, Kai. You can take the other 2 with Bama, A&M, and Colorado State, Utah State. Jim.
Okay.
Arizona one feels pretty big. I did not end up picking on the spread there. I like the over though. It did get bet up very quickly. I think I said
currently, yeah.
Yeah, I think I said 157 was my cutoff in the Action article, but I made it 163. So if you want to keep going up to 160, I think that's probably okay. I think Arizona State's willing to run with them. U of A wants to go. And neither team is really all that incredible defensively. And I think there's just a lot of possessions, a lot of points there.
I agree. My gut looks at the 18 points, remembering Arizona State beating Arizona in Arizona last season, and thinking, it was at Arizona, right? Yeah, thinking this is an absolute mauling. I might add Arizona as the best bet, Kai, at the buzzer when we officially announce that at the end of the show. But for now, I would like your super diligent, prophetic take on Colorado State, Utah State. The Fighting Danny Sprinkles going on the road to Moby.
Yeah, it's not. I know it's not a 100% rule all the time, but in general, I think it's smarter to back these Mountain West home teams than go against them. But having said that, 6 is a big spread in my opinion for this game.
Yeah, Marquette bet it up 2 points already. Yeah,
it's 4 on Kempom. Again, you're paying a premium here. Colorado State's great, but man, Utah State has done nothing wrong this year. I still think it's a really good team. I lean them at 6, even though they are on the road. Alabama A&M, I like Alabama. Can they speed up A&M? It's really hard to do. A&M slowing down Alabama, I think, seems much less likely, especially at Alabama. Give me the Tide, even -8. The spread feels high, but I think they get the possessions up there. A&M can't score, and Alabama certainly can.
Quick nuggets. I think Alabama home overs are a great angle. They score like gangbusters there. And then Patrick Cartier for Colorado State got hurt late last game. If he's not out there, Asabor could go even more nuts than he did in the first game when he had 20 and 14. So I took Utah State +5 in the contest, and it went the other way.
It went up. Wow. Yeah.
I think it might come back down when if Cartier is announced out.
I think people saw that premium that you paid for Mountain West homes last night with San Diego State, and they still covered. And I just feel like there's a developing trend that maybe some folks are latching on to, as Kai alluded to.
Yeah, I think a mistake
Final thought
to
on
do that in general.
Yeah, right. Final thought on A&M Alabama. I did buy with A&M. I'm just a sucker for buzz with his back against the wall, so we'll see. Okay. I'm sure that's a loss. Okay. Yeah, that's my second SEC big road dog sucker bet along with Kentucky. Those are both probably losers,
Kentucky.
so do not tail.
We
have the they'll be down 20.5 of those.
The Field of 68 road trip. They're hitting both Alabama and Auburn today, Matthew, and you're back in the road squad.
It's a negative effect. I think their presence, Jim, just kind of it galvanizes the home team in a distracting fashion. So yeah, that's part of my number.
They're too busy heckling Goodman to heckle the other team.
Exactly. We had a game to play, fellas. Lock in. Eric B with a couple of good inquiries. Also, he's sharing his best bet. Let's get back to that chat mob. Share your best bets, please. We'll dissect those and maybe track them informally. Hawaii
don't
at UC Santa Barbara.
Don't promise tracking.
I'm not going to promise. I'm saying maybe, probably not. Yeah, kind of a loose, vague promise there. We'll outsource that to a mobster who can do all the tracking for us. We actually like that. Hawaii at UC Santa Barbara. Hawaii just laid the lumber against Cal Poly. UC Santa Barbara is bad at basketball this season, Jim.
I hate this team.
I
hate them.
Right? Like what else is there to say? I don't know. I mean, just fade UC Santa Barbara. Even at the Thunderdome, they've been bad.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how much they just rolled over and died against UC San Diego. Got down 20, and there's no signs of life in a game that, hey, why not prove that you can compete? It seems like they've packed it in, and maybe they show up for the Big West tournament. And that's like a great buy low spot for them, but I'm not touching them during the regular season for the rest of the way.
Hi, but his best bet is Eric B. Eastern Washington laying 4 against Weber at home. My number disagrees, but my Weber State number is still skewed by the St. Mary's win. So I don't know. My gut agrees. I think East Wash is just better and wins by 4 points or more at home.
Yeah, very scary to fade Ewash in Big Sky play. My gosh, they've been dominating. Game 1, Ewash won outright at Weber. I kind of lean towards Weber keeping it close. But yeah, it's a scary fade. 4, probably, Matt. I would agree with you. The number would definitely say Weber there. But
I think it's close. You need more than 4, though, I think, to back.
Eastern Washington, they can score pretty easily. I think Weber sometimes has difficulty doing that. It's really tough to back the team that can't score a lot on the road.
Why is Pat asking about Duke FSU? I think we all agree that we're backing Duke there with the intel of FSU not exactly locked in and engaged state, but I don't know if we can share any more on that. But I would not back FSU. That's all we can say, correct? We'll leave it there.
Matt, it's funny because Matt, all year you've been like Duke's losing at FSU, lock that in. And I'm sure all Duke fans
I had it as a bet,
that.
and I removed it from my order because of the intel from Pat. So thank you, Pat. You probably saved me a loser tonight. But point being, do not back FSU today, even though it screams FSU.
Yeah, there's some behind the scenes that seems really dicey. Yep.
They ain't ready. They ain't ready today. Other questions from the chat. UMass at LaSalle. LaSalle's terrible. You guys told me this team would be terrible. I didn't listen to you. I thought they'd be good. They've been really bad. I can't guard anybody. UMass off that big win at Richmond, though, Kai. 6.5 feels high for the home Explorers.
I kind of lean LaSalle. I know. My number, Fran Dunphy is good for like 3 or 4 just like outright wins as a bigger dog in conference play.
I agree.
I think they could do it against UMass. Not confident, but I lean their way.
Jim, as Nathan properly points out, Steve Lavin's been kind of good, looking for their 7th win in 8 games today. I did successfully fade them with Portland on Thursday, but that was a sweat at the end. Against Santa Clara, that basically has 4 players at this point. It feels like a pretty good spot to back them again, especially getting 6 points at the Slim Jim. What do you think?
Slim Jim, Jenny Craig Pavilion. Yeah, it probably is the better spot there. A younger team that's trending up and has had a lot of good quotes about like they actually like playing with each other. Matt, your boy Jamerson's been a monster in the paint.
Monster.
And yeah, Santa Clara, just the injuries and they kicked. We're thinking about or suspended Carlos Marshall for a game. Like it seems like their chemistry isn't awesome either. So on the road, I don't trust them against a team that seems more connected.
How about North Dakota State, Denver from Nash? I added Denver at the buzzer, actually right before we went live on this show. Denver has been bad lately, but if you look at their results, they've been pretty good in this Saturday spot, except for the double overtime game prior. Very specific angle I have here, but I do think Denver's just better. And I really hate this Bison team ever since we watched them lay an egg for us against UC Davis. So, Kai, you agree? Denver -2, 3. What's it now? 2.5.
2.5. I definitely agree with you, man. Again, this is a team that can score versus a team that cannot score. I think Denver could win by double digits. It's so weird to say, but hey, caution. Bison are starting to play better. Historically, they do really well
Yes.
in the second half of Summit play, figuring things out. Little caution there, but I do lean towards Denver.
Jim, I
Denver's
also
the-
faded. Oh, go ahead.
Denver's the only undefeated team to the over at home. 8-0. Every game's gone over. I think
Makes
there's a lot of
total
points there. Yep.
Jim, I faded the other North Dakota team with Oral Bob, who's also been bad. So this could be I may have walked myself into 2 double losers with the same sort of home with team that's been struggling angle. Do you have a take on this one? Another short home favorite for the Eagles at maybe.
I think the lock of this is in about 7 hours. I'm going to get a message from Matt that says I hate betting the Summit, and that's we're definitely that's going to happen. I mean,
That's
spot wise, I
that's an
completely
absolute
lean your way.
lock.
Yeah, I completely lean your way. I buy low on Oral Roberts. North Dakota couldn't be playing any better, but maybe it's just the current form. Maybe they have actually figured it out. Kind of a younger team. They integrated Iheanacho mid-year, and they look ridiculous so far. I know the North Dakota fans, the Fighting Hawks, are pretty thrilled about that right now. But I do lean your way, Matt, with Oral Roberts.
One more at the horn from Scotty H. Oregon has been a good road team this season. Is that true? I think they have. It's the Civil War today, Kai, at Oregon State, where my Beavers are hosting. 7 points is the number. No official take here. I think it's a good game.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Beavers. Civil War, hype home spot, +7.5, much better at home. Leaning towards the Beavers there.
They have been really good at home, except for getting demolished by Washington, but I give them a pass for that.
Yes,
I think
Washington
Jordan
State's-
Pope got hurt
Washington,
temporarily
yeah,
in that game.
right. Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah.
Let's go to best bets. Do you guys have yours
can I
wrangled? I think I
shoehorn
have
one in
mine.
here? 'Cause
Kai, go ahead. Yes.
I saw a question, Howard NC Central, and Howard basketball actually reached out after the media debacle and said, "You guys are welcome to be credentialed
shouts.
for our game today."
I mean, Blakeney and the boys.
I would be going if not for the Maryland game already committed to. So I lean towards Howard. Huge game in the MEAC. Very, very big game in terms of the standings. Both teams fighting for a title there, along with Norfolk State. So I lean towards Howard and the boys getting it done.
Agreed.
Not a great look
yeah.
for our open to our Democratic. We're mid and low majored friendly if we're going to choose big boy basketball over the low majors, Kai. But
Hey, decision was already made. Decision
Yeah.
was already made. Let's not. Yeah.
What
Matt, I
optics
can
there?
lead off. I can lead
Please
off on
do.
best bets.
I'm still
ready to
deciding on
rock
mine.
here.
Go.
My first one is on the extra board. Jimmy Undertaker is back. I'm sure the mob will be excited to see this. American and Lafayette taking the under, I believe 125.5 is still out there at a couple of places. Yes, indeed it is. Last 3 games, American's been missing all 3 of their best guards. Elijah Stevens, Jeff Sprouse, Colin Smalls. The games have had 87, 114, and 101 points. We know the Patriot plays super slowly. I think it continues to do so. Lafayette is a big-time under team as well. American just got no shot creators right now. They're playing much, much slower. All 3 games that they've had no guards have been 58 possessions or less. Lafayette's not going to speed it up. I think that is a big-time rock fight with no real good guards on the floor. And my second best bet, let's see if I can get the prop here. It's going to be Gonzaga -30.5.
Oh, look at that.
Bulldogs. Let's
Yeah.
go Bulldogs.
Good boy.
Yeah.
What's his name? What's her name?
This is Millie. She's a cutie.
Millie.
She's the sweetest girl you know. There she
boy.
goes. She's climbing
Good
up
girl.
on me.
Good
Here we
girl.
go. Yeah, we're going Gonzaga -30.5. I think they blow out Pacific. I think they still know that the net tiebreaker matters or could theoretically matter against St. Mary's. So I think they go to town on a team that actually kind of gave them a scare last game.
All right, before I release mine, and I'll do an official Raz fashion here. I'll give the number and give a fake dummy so people can queue up their books here. Also, it gives you time to hit the like and subscribe button, which I actually have not done myself this show. I'll do that right now. So let's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here they are. The 3 I'm going to lay out for the world.
Well, you already gave
today.
Oklahoma too, right?
Gave Oklahoma out, so that's a spoiler. So Oklahoma +2. I'm going to take Arizona. I looked at that. I just feel like that's a route today. I've been waiting for Arizona State to crack. They've actually been playing better. Don't quite really understand why, but I feel like that's about to be a house of cards, and today is the start of the Jenga collapse. My third one, no question about this one, surprise, in the Coastal Athletic, Northeastern playing Hofstra on the road to the Pride. Bill Cohen's boys with Lucas Dakota have been much, much better this game historically is always close. Like even Northeastern sucked, except for I think like 1 year. This game's always competitive. I'm just not a huge Hofstra fan this year. I think they're good, but not great. I think they're 2-7 in conference against the spread. So I like my Huskies, Kai, on the road catching
Okay.
6.5. That's my three for.
I love it. I'll go 2. I'm going Maryland since I'll be in the gym today. It's gonna be an awesome environment. Plus 2.5 for the Terps. I'm also going the Jack Bunnies, Matt. I know you had a frustrating loss for them against UMKC. They're laying 1.5 at Omaha. Omaha's great this year. They've been way better, much improved. I have a hard time seeing the Jackrabbits dropping back-to-back games against UMKC
I'm done with this team. I'm done
and
with this team.
Omaha.
I beware. That's all I'm going to say.
If
Beware.
they win, they'll be
I'm done with
tied
that
for
team.
first in the Summit with North Dakota, which is wild to me. Yeah, Jackrabbits minus 1.5, Maryland plus 2.5. Those are the best bets for me.
Giddy up. All right, that's it, folks. Thank you for tuning in, dealing with the quick
Yes.
internet loss I had there. Respect to Kai for scrambling and figuring that out on the fly. I was worried the Zoom would end because I was the host. I didn't know how that would ultimately work out, but I'm glad that it kept going. Chat Mob, you were terrific today. Thank you for all the questions. We love when you post your best bets as well, so please keep putting those in there. We will hopefully very strongly think we'll be back on Tuesday, kicking off the daily edition of this show with a sponsor in tow and a potential cool contest that all of the chat mobbers will be eligible for. So make sure you tune in then. We'll have that announcement coming very, very soon. Excited for that. Enjoy all the hoops today. Thanks for coming to the early show. Until Tuesday,